Well, wouldn't you know? It be yet another episode of Portland's podcast. Excellent. Take it away, lad.
And is it working? I think it's working. Yes, and one. How we doing, everybody? What's going on, y'all? We are back at the Portland Media Center for the continuation of Season 2 of the most irreverent podcast in Portland. How's everyone's July going? The 2 months of sunshine we get here in Maine are moving right along, and Portland is heating up, figuratively and literally. I'm pretty sure tomorrow is going to be near record high, once again. Still got bad news about Season 1, Episode 10, folks. Several reports have come in claiming Episode 10 is taking up seasonal work as a registered Maine guide. These reports remain unconfirmed, but Between the Piers acknowledges the situation. If anyone runs into it in the North Maine woods, please let us know at Between the Piers podcast. Thank you. On to today's guest. I really lucked out with today's guests, folks. If you've been in town in the West End at all, you've likely stepped into this venue to listen to some local artists. What people might not know about this venue is that it had a heck of an amazing comeback story. And to tell said story, I have not one, but two members of its team. Today, I am joined by Andrew Roseman. Roseman? Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Sweet. And Celeste Parke.
Yep.
Hannah, I'm just going to be so honest. We had a mic ready for you. I'm so sad you did not make it. But shout out to Hannah, the social media manager.
Oh, yeah. She wears a lot of hats.
Wears a lot of hats.
Our neighborhood, yeah.
Excellent. But they are, Andrew and Celeste are the executive director and treasurer of Blue, or known as BPM, Portland's local jazz club. Hey guys, so stoked to have you two in here.
Ahoy.
Thanks for having us.
Ahoy is kind of legendary. That is a good way of putting it, for sure.
I die by the ahoy. Live and die by the ahoy.
Let's go. Sounds awesome. So let's just get right into it and talk about BPM, because I feel like a lot of people don't know that there's an incredible comeback story regarding Blue as a venue. Where does the story of Blue start?
Yeah, well, I mean, Blue started well before we took over. Originally opened in 2005. It was half as large as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got some beautiful pictures on our website that illustrate kind of that transition over time, which we can't take responsibility for. But Blue had originally opened in 2005. It had a different owner, and then it changed hands shortly after that, had a different owner, and then changed hands after that. And I think it was, 2 or 3 different changes of hands over the years, which inevitably led to where we are today.
Yeah.
But yeah, Blue's been around since 2005, and I used to play there a ton between 2014, 2015, up to 2020.
Whoa, what'd you play?
Primarily drums.
Okay, sick.
I was in the midst of my jazz career.
Okay, so you had a jazz career going on.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool.
But it was a fun room to play there, and inevitably things kind of came to a halt going into COVID and all that, and the plight of most arts organizations shared just some chaos. And
absolutely. Yep.
But yeah, word on the street was the room was going to close, and we had kind of broached that in a very superficial way years prior, but this seemed like very much a real opportunity that the room was going to close. Not opportunity, reality.
Yeah.
But yeah, we ended up getting looped into a conversation and had 3 days to think about it, and we thought about it and then made the decision, and here we are about 4 years later.
Yeah.
Approximately.
Can I put a spin on that that's maybe a little less professional?
Sure.
Spin it.
All right. Andrew played at this venue, and I'd like to say that the feeling of the venue has changed and ebbed and flowed throughout the years. And I guess the last few years before COVID, it was very, very strictly like kind of academic jazz, and Andrew was playing that, but like, yeah, it wasn't all strictly academic jazz, but it was a big part of it. And Andrew played that, but also was like, kind of. And, you know, I think there was like, Therese, the previous owner, is an awesome person, but Andrew may have, drunkenly sent her a few messages being like, yo, I'd take this venue over.
Yeah, are we going there?
We totally
I can tell
go.
the story.
Yeah.
It's not very crazy.
You were really given a nice sheen to it, but it's kind of fun.
I like planting seeds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you never know what's going to happen. You got to plant seeds.
Yep.
And then you see if they grow. Most of them won't. But there's a period of time between, 17 and 2018. Well, before that, my whole life, I've been kind of scheming and dreaming, seeing what opportunities are out there.
Right on.
And I heard I was playing at Blue, and as much as I loved the room and it sounded amazing, but it's very much like a listening room.
Okay.
Very much a listening room. And I don't know how I feel. I know exactly how I feel about the phrase listening room, but it meant that like it was very quiet, chin scratchy stuff. So there, and that's fine. There's a time and a place for all things, right?
Yeah.
But I had some ideas. I've always played like in like jazz ensembles and kind of like free out listening experiments and stuff. But I also played in like punk bands and metal bands. So I was like, ooh, I would love to leave my mark on this room in some way, shape, or form. So in 2018, this is before we took over. I sent I was hammered on Facebook. I sent a message Facebook back in the day. And I sent this message and I was like, if you're looking for a bartender, let me know. And then I went in for an interview and I was like, I have no interest in bartending, but if you ever want to sell this business, let me know.
That's absolutely insane.
Yeah, I did it. Yeah,
Wait, what?
It was met with like, fuck you, dude. But respectfully, one of those.
Respectfully, like, what the hell have you done? Like, what the hell is this?
You play drums in a free jazz band. Nobody even comes to your shows. You got a lot of audacity saying that. But I don't know, man, because look at where it ended up. It went somewhere.
It did go somewhere.
Here
Absolutely.
we are.
Yeah, and I feel like, we can talk more in depth about the evolution since we've taken it over, but I think that the room having this long trajectory in Portland, and I know that it's been different at each stage, I feel glad that we're continuing it and we're kind of doing it in a way that's fairly open and flexible. Like we're not sure where, we haven't prescribed where it's going to be in like 6 years necessarily. So, maybe it'll be people not us that take it there.
Sure.
It's a nonprofit now, so it's open to that,
Mm-hmm.
So Blue is a consistently evolving project.
Yeah. And
the city's changed so much since 2005. There's
isn't
always
that
been
true?
music here. There's been music before. There was music here before 2005, but it seems natural that a room would evolve over time, have different levels and degrees of ownership.
Yep. So where was Blue originally? Was it where it is now? I don't know.
Yes, it was.
No, wasn't it somewhere else?
Blue was there, but Blue has origins in another venue that was elsewhere. So Jimmy, who was the first owner, had Jim's, which was somewhere else. And then Jim's kind of transitioned up to where Blue is now, I believe, and I don't know 100%.
Sure.
Somebody will probably correct us. But
All those older Portland has gonna be like, these idiots don't even know what they're doing.
They're on this podcast saying lies.
But I believe that then Jim sort of transitioned up to where Blue is now, and then kind of turned into Blue, and then ownership changed a couple times. And
wow.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of weathered the test of time, but in different hands.
Absolutely.
Yep. It fell on hard times and was on the verge of shutting down when you finally bought it. But I also understand this was not your first rodeo in terms of turning around a venue in Portland. Can you go into that a little bit further?
Well, we haven't really done much like venue stuff. I've been, Celeste and I've done a bunch of entrepreneurial things around town.
Yep.
But maybe you did play a big part in Gino's sort of.
I played a part.
It wasn't Andrew's venue or anything.
No, not at all. Kat is the owner and operator of Gino's, and she rocks.
Sure.
But I've done front of house, doing live sound at Gino's. I was doing that for a long time.
Yep.
And then when Kat bought the business not a few years ago now, it's a few years ago plus a couple more.
Yep.
Right,
Yeah.
I suppose. But I just went up to her because I've been playing music in Portland for a while, since like 2014. I've been doing live sound around town.
Yeah.
So I went up to her and I was like, hey, I don't know what your hopes and dreams are for live sound, but I love doing live sound and I love Gino's and I'd love to keep working here. And
Yep.
she was like, you got it.
Nice.
And I was like, yeah. So I've been around this area, like doing live sound and gigging and stuff since 2014 about.
Right.
So
I also understand you had a lot of involvement in the preservation of the end of Portland, Maine. Is that correct?
yeah.
Not the preservation of it, but the
Continuation of it.
the start of it.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
really?
opened that business.
Yeah, so it was a couple other bars. Then we purchased it and then sold it to somebody else that was involved as the end. We purchased it, turned it into the end, sold it.
Sold to the bar manager, who's now the current owner operator.
Okay.
So it was nice to see that kind of go from, a thing that was going to close to a thing that was open and then not given, but sold to.
Yeah, absolutely.
leadership.
What was it previously?
Just a bar.
Just a bar?
It'd been a bar for a few iterations. It was like a crepe place before that. I think it was a ramen joint at one point, maybe.
The ramen joint was on the corner.
Oh, okay.
believe.
It was where Cocktail Mary was, maybe. I don't remember. But yeah, it's had a lot of changes as a little,
as a little venue. Yeah, but then
not
it
a venue. It's never been a venue.
Oh yeah, I probably shouldn't use the word venue.
That means something, all right?
Yeah, you're totally right. My job is to be the most foolish person in the room. So I think we're doing it right now.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was a cool spot. I mean, I forget what it was before. Cocktail Mary?
No, it was Dirty Dove.
Dirty Dove.
And then it had some other
something
name.
else.
I don't remember.
I don't know. It was a room that had potential, and it was brought to our attention, and we were like, yeah, let's do this. So, we did it.
And it became the end. What's funny about the end, and just something I've noticed, and this is a completely niche thing that I've noticed, is that the stickers for the end, that skull, that they have the skull and the wings. It's the exact same skull and wings that they use in the Guitar Hero game. And I just for some reason.
Slap them with a lawsuit is what you should do.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm doing that.
you know what? That as the designer of that logo, it was actually just ripped completely from one of the gravestones in the cemetery.
Oh, really?
It's not even altered in any way. It's just exactly what one of those.
But you did a great
are.
job.
Thanks.
Oh, no, it looks fantastic, and it's got a lot of character, and it really solidifies kind of the character of the end, which is a fantastic bar. I love it there. It's funny because I'm like, wait a minute. I've seen that skull playing the guitar on the loading screen for Guitar Hero 3, and I'm like, why is this the most important thing on my mind right now?
I tell you. Well, there are worse things to be thinking about.
I suppose so. So as I see it, Blue is in very good hands, right? You obviously are very passionate about it. What kind of events can one reliably expect to see at Blue on any given week? What's the schedule like?
Oh boy. I mean, reliably, there's only two things that happen reliably every single week. And that's open mic, which happens on Tuesday. And we do a music open mic and then a comedy open mic.
Okay.
So both happen each Tuesday night. And then on Wednesday, beginning at 9, we have Jazz Sesh, which is there's a house band. That's awesome. It's always rotating. And then players can come in. Any kind of player can come in, or singer or whatever, comes in, talks to the hosts, calls a tune, jumps on stage. And that's kind of a fun social time.
For sure. I think Jazz Sesh is one of my favorite things that we do at Blue.
Sure.
Especially because historically, Blue, even now, people, Blue, the jazz club. And it's always been a listening room. It hasn't necessarily been a jazz club, but it's again, we kind of talked about the academic nature of jazz and how it can be sometimes a little inaccessible.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Our Jazz Sesh is not that. It's very, very little gatekeeping going on.
Yep.
And it's just meant to preserve the art form that's supposed to be on stage. It's not just a collection in 400 pages in a spiral notebook called the Real Book. And that's just what jazz is. Jazz is to be played with people your age, older than you, younger than you, who look different than you, have different experiences than you. And that's what our Jazz Sesh is. It's kind of everyone is at a certain, ability, because you can't just open up a book and start playing standards.
Right.
You got to have some sort of foundation there. But it's really nice to just see, it's not this ice cold kind of everyone's competing for the spotlight. It's not that at all. So I love Jazz Sesh, just saying.
Yeah, I do
It's a good thing.
It sounds like your goal was to take this traditionally very academic form of music and create a community around it.
For sure. And there was a community around it. I mean, there's always been a very respected jazz circle of musicians.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to pretend I'm not this sort of intellectual. I got my bachelor's degree. I think critically about music and sound in general.
Nice.
But performance wise, this is a club. This is a venue. We're supposed to have a good time. Play the music. Smile. Look at the audience. Don't be afraid to take your eyes off of the music stand.
Yeah.
Talk to your friends. Ask him if he wants to take a solo.
Yep.
And most of our booking is kind of just, very much based on who's pitching stuff to us, who's willing to play. And there are a lot of jazz players. And I think we really felt like Jazz Sesh was just taking the jazz community that already was there, that we didn't create, but was there, and giving it a fun, sort of always changing thing to, be centered around.
Yeah, every week is a different. I mean, there's only so many people playing this kind of music around here. But
right.
Every week it is a different band with a different hosting style and different, songs in the repertoire that they'll kick off. So every Wednesday has a slightly different vibe. So people who come through, they're like, oh yeah, this guy's a backbeat guy. So you'll hear a lot of jazz standards with like normal slowed down pocket playing. Or you'll hear like, oh, here's a sax player who just like blows and blows and blows and blows on his horn. So you're just going to hear a lot of like sax. It's cool. Every week has a slightly different approach.
That's really neat. Yeah, no, that's super. It's always a different thing. It's always a different thing. It was crazy because I went in there on a Wednesday night, unaware that this was like jazz session. I saw people in the audience like getting their reeds on, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And then suddenly they were on stage, and I was like, "Wait, what? Wait, what is happening here?"
Surprise.
That's right.
I did not expect that. Much to the likes of the Spanish Inquisition, I did not expect people in the audience to end up on stage. So that was super cool. That was super, super neat. And then you have a comedy night.
Yeah, on Tuesdays at open mic, it starts off with open mic music and then ends up with open mic comedy. We shut the curtains and take off most of the microphones except for one on stage.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's comedy, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's part of the open mic that happens every week.
That's really, really cool. Does that usually get a pretty consistent showing up?
Yeah. Open mic is just incredibly variable. Always. All open mic, music and comedy. And, we always kind of laugh that like if music is really well attended, then comedy will be less well attended. If music is not that well attended, then comedy is going to be great. It's just impossible for us to be gangbusters on both any one given night. Actually, it's probably happened, but it just feels like
I'd say
it's
it
rare.
happened.
It happens, but just the sort of like thing that we always say as we're groaning about things is, we had a good music. Probably comedy's gonna be dead.
Yep.
We do a lot of that.
A lot of groaning happening in Blue. Groaning and
Grown on occasion.
frustrated groaning is a thing that happens in Blue once in a while.
It happens.
I mean, you can't do anything all the time and not groan about it. So
That's so true.
that's part of why we've been, we've involved a lot of other people. We continue to involve more people. We can't really afford to involve the new people, but we take on volunteers. Andrew's given up salary time and time again to just bring somebody else on. And, we do hope that like now that we're a nonprofit, that someday we'll just pass it off, And
That's dedication. That's absolute dedication to the cause. What a really cool thing. It's funny. I talked to a lot. You were talking about booking, and I know you guys are always super booked because when I was trying to get you two on Between the Piers, I spoke to the BPM robot quite a bit.
The robot.
Oh, the
The
robot.
robot
does a good job for the most part.
It might annoy people, but it's got to do something to give some information. Otherwise, it really does cut down the number of emails.
The robot does?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good auto response.
Yeah.
It sure is. I would love my little. The BPM robot speaks. I'm like, good to see you again.
See, I like
Hey,
knowing
friend.
people read this stuff.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
But yeah, I think we are the busiest venue in Maine because we have shows at least 5 nights a week, sometimes 6, sometimes 7.
Yep.
So like this week was a 7-day.
Yeah, it was a
thing, I
week.
think. Yeah.
Oh my
so,
gosh. It must take a robust operations team to make that happen.
I mean, no. That's why we grumble a lot.
Just a small group of people who hate themselves, and we figure out how to just keep that final breath of air right above the surface, so we can be like, and then we go back down for 7 days.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, small team, but bigger than it used to be. It used to be like 3 people. Now it's we've got more than 2 other employees, so that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, the blue group is growing.
Yeah,
We are slowly but surely.
Nice.
It is true.
That is very, very good.
It's important. It's something that we want, and we keep anticipating and being excited about the next phase in which we can bring more people on. And like this fall, we have our first intern from Mecca, so that's exciting.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm really stoked for that.
What are they going to be doing?
Mostly live sound.
Oh,
So
okay.
one thing that we're always thinking about is like, what is our thing? Like what makes blue? And I think there's a lot of stuff that makes blue, but we're, by nature of, I'm a musician first and foremost. I think I can say that with relative confidence, but I love live sound, and it's kind of like this overlooked aspect of performance that very few people think about, particularly like performers themselves.
Sure.
You think you're going into a gig. Oh, it's really easy to complain about live sound. But do those people who complain about live sound get more involved in live sound? Not always. So one thing that we're trying to do is provide the most training for live sound techs. A lot of people who start off at Blue end up working at other venues in town. So we're pursuing internships that will give people hands-on experience to using a digital mixer in a performance setting. And then, one, we have opportunities at Blue for that. But two, there's a lot of venues in this area.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. My roommate, who's been on Between the Piers, is the live audio engineer at Aura.
Bingo.
Yep. So, and he's worked State Theater. He's worked at Thompson's Point. He's worked all over the place.
Yeah. And it's really hard to get in that world.
Yes.
Until like you're in that world. But it's not, I don't know. It's a tough thing to get into without like if you didn't go through like a collegiate track or some sort of technical training program, which you don't need to work in these fields. You just need to know what you're doing.
Right.
And we always say we wish that people sort of talked more about the ecosystem of like venues in Portland, because it's important both for performance and things like live sound. It's like our room is a good place to. Well, we always say like there's rooms sort of that are more DIY than ours, where you kind of really try stuff out, and then when it's sort of solidified, you bring it to us. Then hopefully you outgrow our room and you book at Space or something that's a little bit bigger, and likewise with techs, our room is pretty manageable in terms of, you're not like dealing with, multiple levels of stuff. And, a lot of times there's not even that much need for amplification, but, hopefully you take your skills from Blue and then you start working at bigger rooms with bigger acts. And yeah. A lot of times we talk about like, we got to get together with everybody and talk about these things. And we've had a lot of good sort of camaraderie in the community lately because of the whole Live Nation thing. So maybe that now we need to like, the focus needs to be away from like, fuck the big guys. But like, okay, now we got to,
rally the little guys.
Yeah. Get our relationships sorted in the
and be strategic
sphere.
in how we all kind of do our things.
Yeah.
Because
everybody's filling their own kind of niche, and it's helpful to identify those things and be cognizant of other people's niches. And yeah.
So let's talk about the environment that is Portland's kind of music venue. I use the word venue right this time, right?
That was killer.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that.
There we go. Music's venue scene. Let's talk about the ecology of it, right? Because, and this is something that I kind of wanted to get into, right? Because the introduction of Live Nation to this city has led to a lot of, it shook it like a snow globe.
Oh,
so,
sure.
I understand this is a super controversial topic right now with Live Nation, but as a steward of Maine's local music scene, which Blue is, your voice is incredibly important in this conversation. So what are your thoughts on what's going on with Live Nation in Portland?
Well, it seems like, where are we at currently? There's a pending lawsuit.
Yeah.
That's what's going on now. Well, let's ignore that for now.
Sure.
I mean, we definitely used our identities, working closely with the creative community of Portland at Blue. Like, we made no confusion around where we stood. Like, we were not supportive of that company at all.
Sure.
Coming in and doing that. I mean, for me personally, I'll speak on my own behalf. Live Nation was under like major criminal investigations, right?
Really?
And was found guilty.
Yeah, there was like 35 states suing,
Again,
and the Department of Justice at one point.
Whoa,
They settled with the Department of Justice.
What for?
Antitrust violations.
Oh my
So this was
goodness.
happening while they were trying to build here.
Build in
So
Portland. Wow.
just seems like bad business in general to like be like, let's start a big development project with somebody that's currently
found to be guilty,
and our own Department of Justice is like going after.
Yeah, so that was enough for me. Like, regardless of even having an opinion about what effects it would have on the local creative community, I was like, that's enough for me to say, hey, this is probably a bad idea.
Sure.
Right. So I didn't really overthink it too much. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's complex. It's nuanced. It would create opportunities and this and that. I didn't believe that to be true. I was very opposed to Live Nation. And the only thing that made me not necessarily reconsider, but like really think about that position was when the union, one of the live sound technicians unions, kind of were forced to be in support of the project because it would provide, hours, paid hours, like work opportunities at this new venue.
Sure.
Even still, I challenged my opinion for about 5-10 minutes and then got some more information about how that union even came to that resolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty shady,
yeah.
actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm not trying to like shit on unions or Live Nation besides the fact that they're, criminals and I don't want them in my town. But other than that, my opinion is pretty ambivalent.
Yeah, sure. Fair enough.
I feel like the big things about the Live Nation, a lot of people are sort of simplifying it as like, oh, it's going to force other venues out of business, which I didn't necessarily think on our level, but and people are also like, oh, if Live Nation comes, like you're saying Live Nation is bad, but Live Nation already exists in Portland, and it's true. And that's also part of the argument against Live Nation is that, the city-owned venues like Merrill and the Civic Center, a good portion of their bookings are Live Nation bookings.
Yes. Yep.
And those fund our city. I mean, that's revenue for the city. And
Yes.
we would lose that revenue to a private company because those bookings would then go to Live Nation itself instead of trickling to these other venues.
I never even thought of that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That's huge. And there's a lot of other stuff that happened. Like there was, Live Nation also inquired about buying a venue that I won't name.
Okay.
While this was happening. So
it better not have been Brian Boru. Oh, I would be up in arms about that.
Why I oughta.
yeah,
that's
so,
how I'm feeling about that.
There's also people were saying that they had some plants in some of those city council meetings. There's
Wow.
just like a lot of shitty stuff.
Yeah, a lot of like kind of shady stuff that really challenges the organic, growing musician scene that Portland just kind of has had and has really been rattled by COVID.
Yeah, for sure. And it feels like a symbol of other stuff. Like, it happened to be this big, monolith and music, but hopefully it's also a thing that, a fight that we could have, about some other community in Portland and a monolith,
You mean to tell me corporate monolithic entities are coming for our well-being?
I think they have.
Oh, no.
Who would have thunk it, everybody?
God.
Oh, man. I mean, this exact same song and dance has happened, particularly in Maine's wilderness. As a registered Maine guide, I was very, very aware of the CMP corridor,
Yeah.
right? That was going to cut through the western Maine mountains, right, all the way up to bring power from Canada downward, southward. And I voted against it, and it did not pass. And then, lo and behold, miraculously, a few months later, they're like, oh yeah, by the way, we're building the CMP corridor. And it's like, wait a minute, hold on. The people of Maine voted against this, and it's still happening?
So you're saying democracy is nothing.
Well,
What the
It's
hell?
performative. It's okay. No, it's not nothing. We all showed up to the polls and pretended to vote.
Between the Piers does not have any political opinions except that
Me
the
neither.
CMP corridor is junk and Live Nation in Portland might be a shady thing.
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? I don't get it.
Who would have thunk it, man?
Oh, jeez.
Yep. So I understand in a stark contrast to Live Nation and to a majority of the bars in Portland, Blue is a 501c3.
Yeah.
501c, 501c3, a nonprofit organization.
Yeah.
C3. Yeah.
Man,
Can confirm.
venues and 501c3. I am killing it today.
Dude, I like it.
Which is why we can't, be too political.
Sure.
But I feel like saying fuck Live Nation is not that political.
Not
That's-
right
yeah,
now. No,
yeah.
it's really not.
That's not even a political opinion.
Yeah, not really.
We can unpack that. but-
Yeah, I'm going to be so honest. But can you explain the distinction between like a for-profit venue and a 501c3 in terms of like having this jazz club and this bar?
Yeah. So basically, one thing is that Andrew and I ceased to be owners of it. So if there's any profits, we can't like just take those profits. They just stay with the organization. Certainly, salaries could be raised. I think I wrote the charter and I did set the limit to be, not more than a certain percentage of the lowest paid employee, but we're still a long ways off from
I mean, in its purest
we're
sense,
pretty
is that what we're building
underpaid.
there is not a business.
Yeah. So,
Sure.
so if we decided we didn't want to do it anymore and we couldn't find any kind of successor to take over. So ideally we'd find a new executive director, a new treasurer, and, we'd just hand over and it would continue, keeping all its own assets. If we couldn't make that happen or the organization was in really bad shape, we would close it down and all the assets would have to be dispersed to other nonprofits that have similar missions.
Oh, wow. Do you have any, and I was curious about this, do you have any complications retaining a liquor license when being a 501c3? Like, are there any stipulations about that, or how does that work?
No, our licensing changed. So we ended up getting an auditorium license instead of a lounge license.
Okay.
There's some things like with that, we do now, we're 18 plus. If we have events that are just for children, then we don't sell liquor at all.
Yeah.
It's actually not that uncommon. So One Longfellow Center is One Longfellow Square is a nonprofit. Space Gallery is a nonprofit. Mayo Street Arts is a nonprofit. There's a lot of stages that are nonprofits. It's just kind of the only way to make venues work at a small scale.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually, when we were thinking about becoming a nonprofit, we found somebody's research paper from 2011 or something.
Oh, man. Before that, it was, I think it was from at least, over 10 years ago. But it was someone who had done a case study in Portland, Maine, examining, Port City Music Hall, if we remember that spot.
Yes.
Before the previous owner opened, or maybe while he was opening, there was someone who was going to grad school at USM looking into what is the viability of a music venue, and then what's the relationship of a liquor license to all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of funny because I think people have been trying to solve this riddle since the beginning of American time, when you can't drink legally until you're 21, but everybody wants to go to a show at 18 or younger. It was, I don't know, for us, I think that there's one track of we go see bands, we grab a beer, we hang out. But there's also this other perspective on performance where it's everybody should go see shows. And that means that even if you're under 21, there's liability involved. We don't want a bunch of kids hanging out in our venue.
And then maybe somebody just kind of sneaks somebody a beer, and then you got that whole liability.
Yeah. So, for us, it's really important to maintain access to shows. I mean, we live in a very small area.
Yes.
Portland, Maine is small. And if you have to, make that sample size of people who can go to shows even smaller, then what's the point? So, anybody can find out, for a venue to exist, you got to sell drinks. You got to sell things, but drinks is essentially.
Yeah, because drinks because alcohol in that way kind of serves as that social lubricant and kind of that thing that allows you to kind of stay in that moment more presently versus
sure.
In some situations.
And more specifically about the liquor license, anything that we sell during a show or a performance is income that's related to our mission, because it's happening during a performance and our mission is about performance. So, we have a massive non-alcoholic and, big menu that has lots of things that doesn't have booze. So all that revenue is related to performance. And for a nonprofit to have a liquor license, it's you just have to make sure that the majority of your revenue is coming from programming, things that are related to your mission. So, we're lucky that we're not open if we don't have a performance happening. So there's never any time. I mean, unless people start hitting us up to book private birthday parties, which, we're open to. Nobody does it, but mostly because we're always booked out. But all our open time is related to what we do. So
for sure, if anybody wants to book a private birthday party at BPM, definitely hit up the BPM robot and he can help you out with that. You heard it here, folks.
That's what I'm saying.
A year in advance, though.
A year in advance. Yeah. So on your birthday, you want to book next year's birthday at BPM.
Yeah. And it's going to
easy.
be very
you just gotta,
expensive.
It's totally worth it though, guys. Trust. Another really thing I like about Blue is that a lot of the shows are pay what you can.
Yeah.
which is a unique concept, and I feel a concept that deserves a lot of praise, especially given how tight economics are here in Portland and in the United States in general. For literally everybody, except maybe the people who are coming up from Massachusetts and have a home on Cape Elizabeth that they visit like once a year. But what was the decision to offer such an admission fee?
Well, Blue had always been like most of the shows had been donation based.
I mean, we just kind of cut to the chase by being a little bit more transparent about that.
Sure.
So like prior to us taking over, the major feeling of a show was, you ever go on like a campus tour for a college?
Yeah.
Okay.
Back when I was in college.
Yeah, remember that? So I remember giving a tour and being like, as you can see, we don't have any walls or fences on campus. That means we encourage the community to come on into our room, and this is how we live symbiotically with the community.
Sure.
However, anytime somebody steps foot on campus that isn't a student, you get an email saying, oh my God, there's somebody on campus right now.
100%.
So with that in mind, the previous policy was we don't charge at the door. Come on in and hang out. 2-drink minimum. Also, it's a suggested $20 to the band. Now let's just do some math. So if it's a 3-act night, you're doing $20, $40, $60 plus 2 drinks. Let's call it $15 a piece. So 20, 40, 60 plus another 30 is 90 plus tip. If you didn't have a dispensable $100 in your pocket, you were not going to Blue, and definitely not for the whole night.
Wow. That's expensive. That is an expensive barrier to entry.
And there's a reason why maybe that was the policy and why a lot of people thought this was a jazz club for a really long time. I don't know. But all I'm suggesting is by shifting to just an explicit, this is a pay what you can show. There's one person at the door. You give them money that you feel is appropriate. We'll suggest some guidelines. And then once you're inside, great job. You're inside. Watch the show. Hang out. Talk to your friends. Nothing's really changed. Just the framework for how we get people there.
Well, and it's always being edited. So when we took over, we stopped doing this like aggressive basket speech. It used to happen twice during each act. Somebody would explain what's going on and go to each table and say, you need to put $20 in here. So we stopped
with a
doing
slightly
that.
different verbiage.
We made it
Ideally.
much more open-ended,
You need
and we did it only once. And that certainly like reduced income for groups, which sucked. But it was just kind of something we had to do to like loosen things up and make it not seem so. It was just surprising the way it was expensive, which is not something that anybody likes. You know,
Yeah.
You don't want to be surprised with expensive. And then, we started to doing more ticketed shows. And then we kind of once we became a nonprofit, we were like, we're getting volunteers, and the volunteers will ask people immediately so that they know what they're getting into. And we think we might even change it up in 2027. I don't know if we can even talk about it.
Oh, stay tuned.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Should
Big
we
things coming.
Hint at it? Should we say it?
Oh, if this happens on Between the Piers, this is so exciting. And if it doesn't, that's totally okay too.
Here's the thing. Next year, we're not charging. We're not having any shows. We're not serving anything. We're not even going to go in there anymore. We're going to sleep for all of 2027.
All right, guys. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Blue is going to be hibernating for 2027. Thank you so much for coming. Enjoy the rest of your evening, folks.
Yeah. No, not the plan.
We'll
Celeste,
just
what's
say
the
this.
plan?
Well, I won't say that we're doing it with 100% surety, but I think we're trying to tweak the pay what you can model by making most of our shows sliding scale so that there is a suggested minimum and then no other cap. And it's going to be just like pay what you can, but there may be more options online for buying sliding scale tickets. And it's just hoping to expand what artists can get, but also kind of keep that, amorphous pay what you're able to.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
that's so valuable.
We're constantly tweaking that to try to find the right balance. Something that works for us as a venue, something that works for musicians, something that works for people coming in. So, and who knows, as the world changes, maybe it'll keep changing because,
Yeah, because things seem to just be rapidly changing every single day, and we are living through unprecedented times seemingly every week. Having said that, I absolutely love that idea, and I really love the pay what you can sliding scale. And these are things that I've just seen in the community as I've kind of become more in the community, right? I go to Portland In Town Contra Dance a lot at State Street on Thursdays. Shout out to Portland in Town Contra Dance. It's amazing. I love dancing. And they have a suggested donation of $15. But what they say is, if you pay more, we'll give you a high five. If you pay less, we're not going to turn you away. And that's so beautiful, right? And I think it's a beautiful thing, especially for those of us in the community where rent is a concern every month, and the pay isn't ideal for what's going on in Portland. And Portland's expensive. You go to Wharf Street, or heck, you go to Porthole on a Friday night on Commercial, and a Surfside's $15. It's like, what?
Damn.
So
I've forgotten about that whole part of Portland.
Yeah,
Whoa.
that's valid.
Where is that?
Wharf Street, huh?
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, Wharf Street. It's funny, I was talking to somebody once about what I call the Wharf Street trap, which is where people move to Portland and they just kind of get stuck in Wharf Street socially because they believe that that's all that there is, which is not true.
No.
Portland has this incredible community outside of Wharf Street.
A lot going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And Blue is part of that incredible community.
Yeah, it's easy to get stuck up in our neck of the woods. I feel like, it's often called the 600 block. There's a lot happening in the 600 block. I mean, that is technically the arts district. And I mean, even from Congress Street in general, just like from P Home all the way up to OLS, that's a lot of venues.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's an absolute tragedy that Novel closed, because my roommate and I would go to Novel religiously. Beautiful spot, incredible staff, incredible atmosphere, and you can read books, which is super cool.
I mean, it's tough to do. I think there's this very beautiful romantic idea of like a one-stop shop for all this kinds of stuff.
Yep.
And there was a time that maybe that was possible.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just spreading yourself too thin.
Yeah. And it's a bummer. I mean, it's something that I think all business owners, right, need to grapple with. It's like, what do I want to do? And then realistically, what's possible? And I think it's a shame that when you try to do too much, nothing kind of lands. And
yeah, no, that's for sure. Yeah, spreading yourself too thin is a very common trap when it comes to a lot of things, right? Trying to do too much at once. You just spread yourself so thin and nothing sticks, right? Because you're just over here and then over here and over here. Yeah. Does Blue have sponsors? Do you have sponsors in the area that kind of assist in expanding the BPM experience?
Yeah, we've got a couple businesses and organizations that have been super supportive and have contributed towards our mission, like money and stuff, which is really cool because that's rare and not a lot of people, places, or things have it.
Sick.
But we get some support from Absalom, which is a cidery up in Winthrop, Maine, which is beautiful. If nobody's ever been up there, it's worth the drive. You should go up there all the time. It's beautiful. There's tons of chickens. Everybody who works there is awesome.
Wait, there's chickens at Absalom?
There's a bunch of chickens.
What?
And
I held one. Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah.
And we've been doing monthly, a jazz group goes up there and kind of does a little session. Although I don't think people really participate up there. It's more just it's
less of a session, more just like we got a 3 or 4 piece jazz band hanging out.
Super cool.
So that's been cool. They've been supportive, and we've been friends for years. So it's fun to be working with them that way on behalf of the organization and their business.
Yeah.
Who else has helped us out?
The State Theater has helped us out.
State Theater?
Nice.
Immensely. They've given us both, psychological support and financial support. We've been supported by Kennebec Savings Bank.
Hey, that's my bank. Shout out to Kennebec Savings Bank.
Yeah.
Let's go.
They're cool. Did you know that they have a charter that's the original charter, and I'm going to say it wrong, but they have to be philanthropic with like all their profits or a majority of their profits, and that's the way it's been since whenever, like 1860
I heard
or something.
that they need to donate all of their profits to Blue. Is that what you're trying to say?
Oh,
That's what I heard. I heard it on a podcast.
you heard it on Between the Piers.
I just heard it on this podcast just now. That's crazy.
I'm so getting a cease and desist order. This is going to be great.
yeah. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But no, Kennebec Savings Bank, very good.
Good people.
And
Yes.
we're working on reaching out to more people. We've had other businesses help us at times like Zero Gravity.
Zero Gravity was a sponsor of ours for Jazz Sesh for a little while.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've had a lot of personal donations
Yep.
from some awesome people.
Nice.
So that's been really cool. And we've had a lot of little tiny donations from like people that have decided to become members, which membership, we're unveiling some more perks for membership, but so far it's mostly just been a way to support us regularly.
Yeah.
Because we need it. And, musicians have had shows where they've like donated proceeds to us. So we've been helped by so many people, especially a lot of people that probably can't afford to do much, but have managed to do something for us. So that's cool.
Love that.
Grateful.
Absolutely love that. So it takes a village to run Blue, you could say. I mean, I think earlier you said it's just like a couple of people who just absolutely hate their lives and just decide to throw themselves like incredibly at this.
Yeah, and I still stand by that.
Okay, fair enough. So you two are the founders of Blue? You just said this is what we're doing. This is like you guys were there from the start.
Yeah. Well, the start of our story.
The start of our chapter. Yeah. No, I mean, at the time I was doing completely different work, and so was Celeste. And we have extensive backgrounds in, working in food service and all that, and bartending and serving and this and that and the other thing. But I remember one of my friends that doesn't live in Portland anymore, but who was like a big personality in Blue for a long time. He was just like, dude, it's actually for sale. You got to do it.
Oh.
And so I was like, there's no way. I have a good job. I love my life now. That's not true. I did have a better job, but I didn't love it.
We both had really stable jobs, like the most stable financially we've ever been. And then we were like, let's fuck it up. Let's fuck it up.
But it was kind of funny. I mean, I've always, we used to have a grilled cheese company back in the day.
Okay.
So we've always had like little, and I've always been scheming. I used to flip road bikes.
Nice.
I've been playing music forever. So the idea to have a business without necessarily evaluating what the finances would look like as aggressively as we could have going into it.
Yeah.
But the idea of like taking these feelings that we have about the world and being like, okay, here's 4 walls and a ceiling where we could express that and see how that is met by the outside community. That's been fun. And so even now, it's not just us. It's still very much a reflection of who we are, but it's not just us.
No, I mean, we've been in the room a lot less, like sort of by design, because we're trying to, work on some other stuff, Blue related, but, bigger picture things. And we're kind of like, is Blue going to be okay without us just there all the time?
Consistently,
our personalities are like, that's when businesses start to falter, I think, a lot of times. It's when the owners kind of get hands off. But I really do think, I think things will change, but I believe that there's other people that want to do things that will bring, new life and attention to areas we don't think about. And
I think that's something that changes when we became a nonprofit. It's like we're not trying to build up value in this thing and then offload it to somebody else at an inflated value.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you're
not trying to flip Blue.
No, not at all. And I don't think that was, even before we officially went through the nonprofit process, that wasn't really
the vibe.
Yeah, like I bought and sold a bar. I bought a bar, called it the End, sold it to the people in charge now.
Sure.
That wasn't the feeling I got from Blue. It was very much like I'm not getting in. Not that there's any money in that room in the first place, but it's like it's important to keep performance alive in this tiny city,
Yes.
And this is not necessarily us saying we don't want to do it anymore, but it is like we're not just going to put a for sale sign in the window when we're tired.
Yeah.
And just be like, all right, like this is ideally the way, and we talk about this all the time. It's like if people have ideas about what they want to do in the space, awesome. We're all alive. We all have a say as what happens there.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's our decision because we know what works and what doesn't, but maybe we're wrong.
Sure.
But if people want to get involved in a venue, you don't need to wait until it goes for sale and then put together your small little team and then hope that it works out. Get involved.
Right. Absolutely.
Just come on down, say what's up.
And we get so many booking requests that we don't answer all of them, and I hope people don't get discouraged about that. But beyond just like booking a show, people should pitch some stuff. The thing is that we're limited by our own energy, so we can't put a lot of work into making something that's out of what we normally do happen.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody else can take the initiative and have that energy, that's great.
And Blue is a space where that energy can be. Blue is a vessel for that. Blue is a place where if somebody has the energy, to bring something revolutionary, Blue would host that.
If we can, if there's
Sure.
space and time, if sometimes people come in with some kind of delusional stuff and we can kind of tell when it's really delusional, but
So wait, hold on, like what?
Oh,
boy.
baby.
Like a 2-hour monologue about being connected to the spiritual world
Oh,
that is definitely going to bring hundreds of people in.
Which I'm all about esoterics and the big questions.
sure.
Not on a Friday
No, it
night
just-
at Blue.
well,
I don't know
it-
if that's the place.
I mean,
I don't know
it
if
could have
200 people
been.
are going to come.
It could have been, but I think it just fell apart as we questioned it. So somebody's just got to answer questions, got to have a plan. That's all.
And there's just some like really, some stuff that could have been cool that just didn't work out. And that to nobody, like there was an event that somebody had pitched. We spent 3-4 months trying to promo. It happened. Not a lot of people came and we were like, hey, it's okay. Just because your event didn't like hit doesn't mean that we hate you or that you hate it. There's a lot of factors that make
That's just how it goes.
Yeah,
And it's a numbers
sometimes
game.
it's out
Yeah.
of everybody's hands. It's like, who could have thought that there'd be, I don't know. Like, I can't think of a good example, but
Listen, there's a band out there, Primus, and they got an album called They Can't All Be Zingers.
they can't.
And
all
that has
be
always
singers.
stayed in my
What a
mind.
beautiful name for an album. They can't all be zingers.
Can't all be zingers.
I mean, that's something I've also experienced here in Between the Piers, right? And I was just telling this to Kay Stevens, the author of The Ghost Trap, who I was interviewing. And I just said, sometimes I come up with an episode and I'm like, this is the one. I'm like, this is the zinger. Like, this is going to be good. And I post it and I'm so excited. And I go, okay, fair enough. Back to the drawing board. Let's see what else we can do. That's just how it goes.
it's how it
Yeah.
goes.
There's so much other stuff in the world that could pull attention from the one little thing you're trying to do, or
It's the desire to zing is what's most important.
yeah, you got to just keep that desire to zing.
That's
Keep
all we
attempting to zing and eventually you will zing.
It will. It
Yeah.
will happen.
Yep.
And if
absolutely.
it doesn't, damn.
Yeah, and if it doesn't, it's okay
sucks.
too. Maybe it won't happen.
But
Maybe
you
it
still
won't ever
tried.
happen.
At
That's
least you
it.
still tried. I mean,
Hopefully you had fun while you tried to zing.
absolutely, 100%. I mean, you bring the man in the arena quote, which is like that Theodore Roosevelt quote about like, you cannot judge the person unless you are the man in the arena, right? It's the same thing, right? Like you went out there and you did the thing. You went out there, you tried to make this happen. You put a lot of effort into it. It didn't zing, but you can say that you tried, right? And so many people can't say that.
It's a
Yeah.
beautiful, I mean, that's something that we think about Blue all the time. I mean, it's very humbling to be involved with anything that doesn't hit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we have shows every day. They're not always awesome. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh man.
Sometimes my favorite shows really flop. Like sometimes it's awesome and nobody comes. And then another time there's a show that I personally might think is kind of dumb. Because it's not about what I think sometimes. And I'm like, oh, this is cheesy. But
And
people
then a
are
bunch of people
there
show
and they're
up.
loving it. And so it's like, well, what the hell do I know?
Maybe you're wrong.
I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
Eh.
So did you as a team, and so when you were in the Blue process, did you inherit problems that you did not expect?
I think we expected most of the problems.
We expect
nice.
most of them. I mean, I think we inherited the culture of a room that had been struggling,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a little bit more difficult to deal with at the onset of taking over.
I think we also didn't realize that, like, with a venue, you have to be, you book way ahead of time.
Sure.
So you can decide to change something, but you kind of have to wait and enact those. You have to set a point in time in the future, and then all your bookings need to know about any changes, and you have to, like, you can't
It's a
have an
snail's pace of
idea and
progress.
change it instantly. You have
Sure.
to really, like, so the patience part of it was maybe a surprise.
Sure, absolutely. Because you had all these revolutionary ideas, right? You had this go-getter energy that you were going to bring, and then you had to slowly implement it versus just completely changing it.
Yeah, I used to say, people would be like, how's it going? And I would be like, well, it's cool, but have you ever like had to wear dirty underpants for like, a week?
As a hiker, I'm going to say that I have not, Between the Piers is not officially allowed to comment on that, but as a hiker, you can draw your own conclusions.
It felt like that sometimes. Like, I
And we
know
didn't-
that I'm dirty, but
But
I
we,
just can't
you know, I don't want to not talk about dirty underwear, but I just do want to posit the thought that we did not cancel any shows through the transition of ownership.
Wow.
So we had here's a quick little thing. We were told on day 1, all right, you have 3 days to think about this. And then on day 4, that's when we would take over. And then we had 2 options on day 4, either cancel all the shows and build from scratch or just keep all the shows and slow burn. And that's what we decided to do. So that was just a really, as we were implementing all these changes, we didn't cancel anybody's show. We wanted to be as minimally disruptive to what had already been in place.
Wow. Yeah.
And not because we're martyrs. It's like, okay, if we're going to run this venue, all right, cool. The show is happening. Let's see how we run this show. Let's see how this show exists.
It's also a respect to the artist thing, right? Because the artist had booked that show well before the venue changed hands, right? And, the artist has been preparing for the show, right? And then, the artist changes and then suddenly all the shows get canceled, right?
Yeah.
And that's not fair to the artist who's been preparing for that
That stinks.
preparing for this show for probably months.
And a lot of these folks who were playing at Blue before we took over had, it was very much a residency style venue.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of the same bands playing the first, second, third, or fourth week. So when we started providing like a little bit of a disruption to that, they're like, oh, well, who are you? I've been here every weekend.
Oh my gosh.
150
Yeah.
years. And I said, well, I know you have.
Don't you know who I am?
So the big notable thing that happened, within like very shortly after we took over was, again, we didn't cancel this, but we were sort of canceled on by a recurring event that had been happening there. And it was a whole drama.
I was going to say, yeah, that sounds like it would sting.
It did sting. I forgive, but I don't forget.
There was somebody that was sort of the middleman of this event. They weren't the performer. They just kind of were the booker of it. And I think they also used to just drink for free during the event.
Okay.
And
No jab at booze.
no jab at booze. But
Just
I think
making
they
that
were
clear.
very, Andrew, we put a sound system basically in at Blue that hadn't really existed before. There was a PA and a tiny little mixer, but we really upped the sound game.
Okay. Andrew
Andrew brought in all his own gear. And so he had asked the guy that was booking this thing that would happen weekly, who the artists were that were being booked that week. And could he have their contact information? Because he'd like to know about their inputs and all that. And that was met with absolute anger and
disdain.
and how could you? They're my artists.
Okay.
And so Andrew tried to play like nice and just say, hey, can we just, you have to understand where I'm coming from. Can we kind of bury this hatchet? Like, just let me do this and no disrespect to you. And it was not.
Like all I'm asking is to be CC'd on the emails. So
That-
I know
is
if
that
it's
too much
if
to
it's
ask?
a trio
Yeah.
playing tonight or a 25-piece Celtic instrumental ensemble.
Have you had a 25-piece Celtic instrumental at Blue?
It seemed
No.
that way sometimes. No, we got like a 12-piece Latin band.
Yeah.
And you guys have like Latin dance nights too, right?
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I wish I was better at Latin dance.
Come through. Fourth Friday salsa.
There's a lesson.
Oh, there's a lesson?
Yeah.
Oh, I do contra, but salsa is a completely new world for me. I feel like I'd just make a fool of myself.
You won't.
Don't worry.
You won't. You're gonna have a great time.
Okay.
All right. Wendy, PM Salsa. Act like you know.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh.
She does a great job.
So the vibe is to act like you know?
Just
In all things.
No.
All
That's
things.
just an Andrew catchphrase.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
made that up. Act like you know. No one was saying that.
My go-to phrase is always just, I don't know, I just work here.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good one too.
I don't want to tell anybody at Blue I work there. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know.
Well, I
I don't
gotta
know.
Bathroom needs more TP.
I gotta wrap up this story though because
Yes.
so these people, like, basically this guy wrote this whole email that was like, this event is no longer happening at Blue. This owner, blah blah blah, all these nasty
I think
things.
the words are toxic and unprofessional.
What?
Yeah, and he is not going to succeed at anything he does. Andrew printed out the email because this person
Because I'm petty
sent
as hell.
it to us. We were on their mailing list, so we got it. Andrew printed it out, and it's been on our fridge ever since.
I was gonna say, like, it's in an office, it's on the fridge.
It's on the side of our fridge. I look at it
home.
every day.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's just a good motivational thing.
That's wow, gosh. That reminds me of a story again with Griffin William Sherry, where he got an email and like the CC was like, or the subject was poking the bear, and it was a audience member complaining about the fact that people were dancing at the concert and being like, how could you be dancing? You're ruining my show. You're in my face. I can't see the show. And he wants to put that on t-shirts and have that be Griffin William Sherry merch.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
God, no dancing at shows.
God forbid, right?
There was a couple one time that said, there was a lot of people, sort of talking and moving around during, it's too bad that they weren't listening to the music. And I think it was a jazz show. And I was like, well, I think this is a nice return to the original spirit of jazz.
That's kind of the point, right? Yeah, that's kind of the point.
And they were like, oh, like I think I rocked their world when I said that. They were like, shit. Yeah,
they have
we
so
don't
much
get
to
music.
learn.
Yeah, that's very interesting. It's funny too, because I went to Blue for that jazz sesh, right? Jazz sesh?
Yeah, jazz sesh.
Cool. And I came out and I was like, that was a lot of like, I didn't really understand what I was listening to. It's like I was listening to a different language, right? In terms of music, because I listen to a very specific kind of music. And then I was hearing this and I was like, it's almost like if you were taught your entire life English and then suddenly somebody starts speaking like Esperanto. We'll use Esperanto, the fake language. Not that jazz is fake, but Esperanto was.
I mean, it's as real as Esperanto is, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. But so it's like music in a different language. And I was speaking to my roommate about it, and he said, well, I don't want to misquote him here, but basically he said that jazz, like you said earlier, is kind of an academic music, right? It's a music that musicians listen to and go, oh, wow, that was good, So it's very, jazz was so unique to me in that way because I'm like, this is a completely novel experience for me musically. So that's super cool. It's super cool that Blue has that.
It's nice. I mean, I like it. I mean, there's a, some of my favorite stuff is like, there's a reason why at the core of like most celebration, like you go to a wedding or something, there's like a jazz trio. There's something intrinsically like, to like hearing a nice little trio play some music.
Absolutely.
Like there's a reason why we have put that and celebration together. You know what I mean? Is it because all the wedding planners got together and decided jazz is the language of love? Probably not. But there is something very romantic and nice about hearing like a trio that's listening to each other and reacting to what each other are doing. And you hear a little line, you're like, oh, I know this song. Then they do something else. You're like, ooh, that's not that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's novel, right? It's a novel. It's a new thing. You're like, oh, wow, that was really cool. That was a really, really cool thing. So maybe this statement isn't entirely rooted in accuracy, but the way I see it, I've talked to a lot of music artists on this podcast, a few, who say that Portland's music scene is a lot harder to be a member of these days on a grassroots level, right? So I see Blue as a sort of, and I came up with this phrase last night, last bastion, where fledgling and hungry young artists can have an audience and can grow a following. In that way, Blue kind of stands as a relic from a lost time in Portland's recent history. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think that's crazy to say.
Thank you.
I don't think that's crazy.
No, I mean, we have an open mic every single week. I think there's definitely musicians who look down on open mics, but we've had like incredibly talented musicians and then very novice musicians all play at open mic together. We've had some awesome groups kind of grow out of open mic. We've seen artists who are just like kind of playing in their bedroom do open mic and then go on to like tour and have bigger shows. So that's cool. Like same thing at Jazz Sesh. That's usually musicians are a little more established when they're doing that, but I've seen cool stuff happen there. People have definitely pitched things where it's like, hey, this is my first time doing something like this, and we've done some of those shows. And yeah, I think that's entirely true. You
reap what you sow. I mean, other environments, creative environments, are much more competitive. Good luck trying to do something in New York City without having any connects, right?
Oh yeah.
But if Casco Bay Cabaret.
Yeah.
Casco Bay Cabaret is an awesome event. It happens.
What's Casco Bay Cabaret?
It's kind of like
It's a cabaret.
It's a cabaret.
It's a variety show.
A variety show featuring people with all different kinds of talents. It's hosted by Timmy Elliott, who is like a comic around town. He's not like a comic.
He is a comic.
Sometimes he hits. Sometimes he's a comic. Sometimes he's just yelling into a microphone.
I mean,
he would agree.
Isn't that what comedy is? Sometimes just yelling into a microphone.
Honestly, it works. No,
you said that with him in mind. You were like, I hope he hears this.
Yeah. But no, and then his partner Chloe Magic Elixir.
Yeah.
Her name is that like
that's her stage name.
Her stage name is Chloe Magic Elixir.
Her real name is not real. It's all real.
Yeah, absolutely.
Legal name Chloe. But stage name, Magic Elixir.
Oh, okay. I thought the surname was Magic Elixir. Either way, it's a cool name. I'm such a huge fan
and
of it.
they do cool stuff.
Their name is Chloe Isis on their email. So.
That's so cool.
Badass.
Yeah.
All this to say,
Do they
Casco Bay Cabaret is very cool.
Do they want to be on a podcast?
I bet you. I bet you they would.
This is a shout out to Magic Elixir. If you want to be on Between the Piers, let me know.
Bang. But so Casco Bay Cabaret is great. Timmy and I have been friends for a few years now, and he was like, "Oh, I want to put together this event." And then we talked about it, and he told us more about it. And then we're like, "Cool, this sounds cool. Sounds like people doing things that isn't just like, what you would expect at an open mic. It's like there's somebody spinning around on a pole singing opera.
Whoa.
There's like hula hoops and bubbles and all kinds of stuff. It was cool.
So there's like
tiny
circus
little
arts.
puppets.
Very circusy adjacent. So this happens, the rule is the first one just needs to happen and be decent. Second one needs to happen and build. And the third one needs to be cool. And then bam, now that you've done all three, it works. And they jump through those hoops. And the first one happened. It was awesome. Second one happened. It was awesome. Third one happened. It was awesome. And now we do it. They take a little bit of break. They take some breaks, but it's fun. I mean, it's not a monthly event, but we're doing one. We're doing
they do it once a month in the summer, and then they kind of just do it for holidays the rest of the year. So there's like a Halloween, a Christmas, and a Valentine's one.
This is so cool.
Yeah.
This
it's
is
cool.
Super neat. Yeah. And
we'll do it as long as they want to do it. They don't have to do it forever.
And that's
you got
the
to
thing.
stop when things aren't fun anymore.
Like some people will come to us and be like, "Ooh, I have this idea, but I don't know if blue's the right room." And I'm like, "Well, why don't you just tell me what your idea is?" And then I'm like, "This is a perfect room for it." And so it's fun to kind of work on things that way. Because I think the best thing is to challenge. What do you think? Blue can't handle a punk band? I love it in the beginning when people are like, "Oh my God, they're doing hardcore at the jazz club." I'm like, "Oh my God, you're so right. We couldn't handle 4 bands playing in a room. Oh my God, dude, it'd probably be chaos. It's like something we've never done before, ever."
I mean, and the irony of that, of course, is that Blue is directly across, or not directly, but across from Gino's.
Yeah, no, and there's you could do it all kinds of rooms. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
As long as you got a PA, you can rock and roll.
Yeah, absolutely. So Blue stands as it's known around Portland as like a jazz club or the jazz lounge, but it's so much more than that. And I realize that as I'm chatting with you, it's a cultural institution, really, for the wonderful and the hopeful in Portland. And I think that's just so important right now.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? I kind of think it's going back to its roots a little bit. I remember going to Blue when it was smaller and feeling like it was just like packed and kind of crazy and fun. I remember seeing belly dancers there and drinking wine and being like, "This is what adulthood is like," because I think I was like 21, just barely.
Yes.
But we have all these old photos of Blue where there's just like piles of young people like sitting on the floor and all around listening to stuff. This is probably like, 2006 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And, I feel like there's pictures of the room for certain shows that we have where it looks like that again. But I don't think it looked like that for a number of years prior. So I'm happy that we're starting to get back there, or like that there seems to be that feeling. And I bet you a lot of people that kind of don't think that exists in Portland anymore, or like there's no way, grassroots way to rise, that their place that they rose or had that experience doesn't exist anymore.
Sure.
There's a lot of people that, and myself included, sometimes I'm very static in, the things that I experienced. Once those don't exist anymore, I don't see that it happens in a different way, in a different place for other people, And I think we're all like that to some degree.
Absolutely.
But we are there for definitely some people, for anybody that wants it to kind of have those kinds of experiences for sure.
That's absolutely super cool. So with that being said, and I'm pretty sure my audience can probably, after listening to this, figure out the answer to this question, but what does Blue as a venue offer artists that they will not find anywhere else in Portland?
I tell you.
I mean, I think it's a combo of like, so Blue's not going to be your big money-making room. It's not going to be the spot where you pack everybody in, but it is a place that's going to be like visible from Congress Street where somebody could walk by and just come in.
Yep.
The door person is going to be right there. Like everywhere else, there's kind of a level. There's like an entryway that separates you from what's happening. I think Blue is the most like obvious, visible, accessible, oh shit, something's happening, I can get inside there immediately kind of place.
Absolutely. Not to mention the cool TVs, like the cool TVs out front. Like that's sick. Yeah. And it's just, it has good like window shopping appeal in that way. Like you see it, you're like, oh, that looks like, what's going on in there? And you'll make your way in.
And part of that is like the challenge of playing a room like Blue. Because like when you're in a room that, everything's covered up and it's just kind of like you and your people, it's easy to feel like that show is a success, right? Because everybody's kind of in on the joke already.
Yep.
But you open up the windows and you create an option for someone, like the easiest access for someone who knows nothing about what's really going on. It kind of like standardizes your art.
Yeah.
And forces you to kind of like sell the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
sell
absolutely.
And that's kind of fun to just see, bands and people that I know around town who go about it in a different way because it's Blue and because things are a little bit more visible.
Yep.
We are tiny, but we got big old glass windows.
Yeah, you got a good spot.
Yeah.
Like you're geographically in a great spot.
100%.
Absolutely.
I mean, and like our comedy open mic, I feel like a lot of comedians say that it's either the best comedy room or it's the hardest because a lot of other comedy open mics are happening like at Empire or something that is a comedy place. You're going to walk all the way upstairs and go and seek out comedy. And at Blue, you could have a room of random people in there, and which will either make it awesome because if you are funny, they're going to really laugh for real. And it's going to make the whole room feel fun and electric, or they're really going to be like, what the is this?
Yeah, I got to be so honest. That did happen to me and my roommate at Blue. We were at the comedy night. We just decided to come in, and this poor comic, he just bombed so hard.
Yeah.
And me and my roommate actually just looked at each other like, this is awesome. Like,
if you have a tolerance for cringe, which I feel like I do, I love that. Even when it's really awful and somebody's really bombing like that, sometimes I can't stop laughing when somebody's bombing and it's just some weird perverse part of me.
There's got to be an art to the bomb.
Oh yeah,
whether intentional or not.
Yeah, that's
absolutely. True. It's funny too. It's like, because everybody thinks of like Lincoln's Thursday comedy is such a different vibe than Blue's open mic comedy.
Yeah, for sure.
And I haven't gone to Lincoln's comedy in so long, but God, I remember things happening at that event.
Lincoln's is great.
Lincoln's is
always
fantastic.
Really enjoy myself at Lincoln's. Yeah,
Lincoln's is absolutely fantastic. But in your opinion, if you, and this is kind of going on a little bit of a segue here, but if somebody has lived in Portland their entire life and they've gone to State Theater and they've seen names at Thompson's Point and they've never experienced the local music scene in Portland, what are they missing out on?
Oh, prepare to be humbled. Prepare to be humbled. There are people who walk among you every day who will captivate your attention. And then after the show's over, they're going to be normal ass people. And you're still going to be a normal ass person. And you're going to be like, wow, that was crazy. And then you're going to do it again and again and again. And maybe you'll realize that the people who you walk alongside every day are fairly talented, and then it'll force you to challenge. What do you think talent is? What do you think talent owes people with talent? And the answer is nothing. You should go to local shows because you should go to the grocery store and buy vegetables because you should go to the beach on a sunny day. You should do it. These are the people who we live together.
Yeah, absolutely.
See them on a stage. It's cool. It's pretty
is really
cool.
And it's also an expression of their passions.
Yeah, like it's a beautiful thing. It's the fastest way to see what gets other people to tick.
Yeah,
Check it out.
absolutely. Yep, that's a great way of putting it. I could not have said it any more succinct myself. But yeah, oh no, you've been
Winner, loser.
What the hell?
Whoa, I didn't know there was a competition going on
Everything's
here.
a competition.
I see.
Andrew and I are pretty mean to each other sometimes.
And yet you have made this incredible community for people. So
Trying every day.
and it's going, yeah. So what keeps you feeling optimistic about Portland's local music scene, other than what you just said, even as all these challenges arise for young, hungry artists, right? Like these venues are becoming more and more elite, right? The cost of living is going up in Portland, especially, I don't know, Munjoy Hill, like, oh my gosh.
Untouchable.
Jesus.
Untouchable, right? And the cost is going to keep going up and up and up. And these young, hungry artists that used to dominate Portland's, Portland's art scene back in the day, it's becoming harder and harder to get a foot in the door. So, what keeps you feeling optimistic as these struggles arise for Portland's music scene, Portland's local music scene? We're still not talking about Live Nation.
Yeah.
What keeps me optimistic? Nothing.
Nice.
Nothing. Next question.
Okay.
I was going to say, what is the door? I think having this whole experience, I mean, it's also coincided with like maybe our age and time of life and thoughts about what is art and all this stuff. But it's like, what does the door mean? What is the foot? Who knows? Who cares? Is there a place to go to get to in all of this? Or is there just one experience and then another experience? And I mean, that's me getting really heady, but it's just like, I think the people that are the happiest and doing the coolest stuff have realized that it's the thing itself that they do that is just giving them the shred of happiness, and it doesn't need to get anywhere necessarily, or the things that it does get are like a very specific reachable thing. I don't know, that's maybe a depressing, or me trying to put a spin on like, hey kid, we're all fucked. Sorry.
That's okay. No, but it really shows the fact that you got to do it for the art. You got to do it for a love of the art and a love of improving your own art and a form of self-expression, and I think Blue kind of stands as a testament to that, right? It's a place where people can express their art in so many different ways, be it jazz or a cabaret or a salsa dance or something. You just have so much variety, and it kind of encapsulates so many different aspects of Portland. So as things get more difficult, I think artists maybe need to just remember why they're doing it in the first place,
I think that's huge. And I also just want to say a quick little thing about like, I had a conversation with somebody relatively recently about like, I think Blue, what Blue provides too is like, we're the biggest small room, we're the smallest big room.
Yeah.
And if you don't feel like, I love talking to people, there's a different conversation. I quit music. It's not making me happy. And that's fine. Everyone will go through their phase of that. But Blue is like, okay, so you quit music, what? So you're not being fulfilled as you once were playing music? Do sound. Try getting behind a mixer and interact with performance a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's helped me through all these little kind of ups and downs of creatively feeling motivated and not feeling motivated.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's something that keeps me going is just like, all right, dude, you're not having fun playing music. Well, stop playing music. Do sound. You can still participate with the performance. Okay, so you're
put on a show.
Put on a show.
Be a showrunner instead of
like
being
there's
a performer.
There's so many different ways of being engaged with performance that like I just challenge the idea of like, we got to serve the art. It's okay if we don't want to serve the art.
Sure.
Sometimes, like, if you're not feeling inspired and some reason artistically you feel challenged, it's not coming to the surface like you wish it was. Well, there's a million things you can do to support a scene, and then maybe something will emerge in your life that changes your relationship with the thing that is the thing that's happening. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. I went like, because I just had a thought about going back to like young people and the hope for them. And something that I think we've been doing at Blue, I've had some conversations with older artists, because older artists, like boomer artists specifically, seem to be the ones that get the most upset about little things like, oh, we can't afford to give you free drinks anymore, or like, oh, the pay is not as good as it used to be. And I have had some conversations with those guys being like, listen, there's people younger than you that are living in a far worse reality where this is harder. You're lucky that you had good days that you did get those perks, and just trying to teach older artists to like think about younger artists and kind of be aware of their struggles. I mean, like, it's like trying to create, some sort of karmic inheritance for a younger group of people coming up. And I'm not, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I feel like at least trying to get some of those people to kind of realize that has been step one, I guess.
Definitely a unique challenge too.
Yeah.
Definitely a very unique challenge. Very good. So I usually like to end my podcasts with a bit of a funny question. And we've covered a lot of incredible things here. Blue as a venue, I think we've gone from the top to the bottom, and we've really highlighted why Blue is so much more than a jazz club.
Yeah.
Even though that's what it's typically known as, it's just a venue, a cultural institution for Portland. And that's very, very special. I think that's incredibly special.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the funny question I actually came up with it on the spot. Normally I have one written, but I don't know. Today I was working and I had 8.5 hours just kind of meandering around, and I'm like, oh, well, what's the question? And the question is, do you know what like high school superlatives are?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
most likely to do this, most likely to do that. So if you had to give Blue a high school superlative, or maybe two, what would it be?
Oh, baby.
Uh,
Most likely
Busiest.
to? Are we going with most likely?
or just blank est, right? I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah.
because it is busiest, like just in terms of how many things are on the schedule.
It's busy.
Yeah.
But there are bigger venues than Blue that, depending on how you evaluate busyness, we might not be the busiest.
But we are maybe the most booked.
Very booked. Mad booked.
Bookiest.
Bookiest.
Bookworm.
Most literate.
Most literate because of how booked it is.
Hey, I don't know.
Yeah. What's your superlative for it?
Most musical.
Oh my
Most
God.
musical?
It's lame.
Most music. I feel like there are so many other venues though that might challenge that superlative.
I challenge them.
Oh,
BPM.
Even our comedy open mic is so
It's
musical.
so musical.
Wait, what? Do you have a superlative?
Yeah,
Oh,
wait, what
I-
do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, I was just gonna say most likely to break out into song, right? But I guess that's kind of in the same vein as most musical, right?
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
we basically have the same opinion.
Oh man, I guess we're great minds think alike here.
Hey,
But yeah, then there's also comedy, and then there's also the cabaret. Oh gosh, I guess
most likely to surprise you.
Celeste is so unimpressed right now. She's like, I gotta come up with something better
That's
than that.
surprise. Yeah, I don't know. Blue, it's just a great place to lose
like-
track of time.
We're like
Absolutely.
the most grumpy, but also the kindest.
Most-
you can't call
most
yourself
grumpy
the
and
kindest.
most kindest. novel takeaways here. I was voted most kindest by Celeste Parke once.
Good grammarist.
Goodest
Bestest
grammarist.
grammarist.
Oh baby.
Oh man.
But no, come visit us. We're good people. We read. We know what words mean. I like to say that we are a DIY club that sweeps and mops the floor.
Nice. And that's really quite a gem here in Portland, as Blue has been for quite a long time. And it's also the place with one of the greatest comeback stories in Portland's bar scene and Portland's venue scene.
Hell yeah.
Because Blue doesn't really have a definition, right? It's known as the jazz club, but it's just so much more than that.
100%.
It's like the weirdest person that actually has a normal job.
Would that be Blue?
Yeah, like
Do I
Blue
need
is
a normal job?
Blue is the weirdest person with a normal
No.
job.
You ever stop at a rest stop in New Jersey, and then you see
I
like,
unfortunately have.
but
yeah.
then you see like that childhood friend you haven't seen in like 20 years, and you're like, you're here?
Are they working at New
Like,
Jersey?
no, they're in the rest stop. They're washing their hands. You just bumped into them. You're like,
Okay.
what are you doing here? That's
Yep.
Blue. That's Blue,
Your
and you're like,
childhood
wait,
friend at a New Jersey rest stop.
yeah, but you're just like, wait, they're having they had salsa night here last night, and now it's like a weird black metal show. What are you doing here?
Most
diverse,
dissonant and surprising.
most dissonant and surprising.
Dissonant,
That's a crazy word.
atonal. What an atonal whooping practice.
I'm gonna be so honest. I do not know what the word atonal means.
Anybody who thinks they know what atonal means and proceeds to play you a note, that's a real artist. I love real artists.
Oh man.
This has been absolutely incredible, and I am so thankful that you guys made the trip down here. Andrew, Celeste, this has been super amazing. Hannah, we miss you. We wish you were here.
Yeah, I can call her. We can do round 2.
Oh, no, I think she already had plans or something.
Yeah. Well,
Fair enough. Well, everybody, I hope that this has been more than enough for folks to really realize how special of a venue Blue is, and go check it out. You know, there's always events going on. It's always a place to go. So if you're ever in a place where you need a place to unwind after a long day, go to Blue. Hear something new and enjoy it. Andrew, Celeste, thank you so much for being here. And
Thanks for
thank
having
you
us.
so much for chatting with me. And see you guys next episode, whenever that may be. And as always, stay weird, Portland.